Now this is a recipe where you're going to want to grease the muffin tins so that the bananas do not stick and make an unholy mess. Now the easiest way to do that, muffin tray, cooking oil of any description, preferably not olive oil because that's really strong tasting and you don't want half your muffins to taste like olive. So what you do is you take this, pour a bit in one of the wells, grab yourself some trusty kitchen paper, useful invention, and you just start to grease it all around there. Now if you're really clever, you can do this whole thing in like 30 minutes before you even get to school. Believe me, my mom used to do it all the time for bake sales and fundraisers, and I don't know why she never hit us up the head for only ever remembering to tell her on the day. Mind you, I'm pretty sure my mom mastered Zen somehow to end up raising us without chucking us out a window. Now by this time, the oven should have heated up. Another delightful thing about this recipe is that it's not overly fussy about the temperature at which it's cooked. I've cooked it a little high, I've cooked it a little low. All you really need to do is adjust the cooking time by a few minutes, and when all else fails, give it a poke and see what it looks like. And that is that, nice and neatly oiled. Now the easiest way to get this out of the bowl and into the trays is to use a combination of the wooden spoon that you got everything in there mixed up with in the first place and just your usual tablespoon. You can use the two together quite well to just make sure that bits don't drop everywhere and to get everything off the spoon. Now this mixture makes about 12 muffins. Be afraid to just redistribute things a little bit. Part of the reason for that is that otherwise different sized muffins take different times to cook, and you could end up with some interesting results. Now you just chuck these into the oven at about the middle of it and leave for 12 to 15 minutes. A really good idea is to poke it with a skewer to make sure that they're cooked. Another good idea is to make sure that your oven racks are at the right height before you start baking. And now, in the 12 or 15 minutes that you have until the muffins are done, clean up. Now my oven timer's just gone off, and I had to cook these muffins for a little longer than 12 minutes, as my oven wasn't quite hot enough. But as you can see, they don't appear to have suffered for it at all. Now one of the important things about making these muffins is that you don't try and pry them out of the oven immediately. Now the reason for that is that these little guys are still pretty steamy in there. Really soft and squishy. And this unfortunately means that as a potential side effect, you can end up leaving half your muffin in the pan. Now since this isn't ideal, what we do instead is just let it sit for a moment. I'm not certain if you can see it under here, but I've got a wire cooling rack. I haven't just plopped this down on my kitchen bench because that would leave unsightly scorch marks and my landlady would not be happy with me. When it comes to getting these out of the tin, the simplest and easiest way is, ta-da! Bread and butter knife. Look at that shine. And unexplained scorch marks on the tip. I still don't quite know how those got there. My personal theory is somebody used it for stirring a cooking pot or something. What you do with this is that you take it, put it down the edge of one, and then you shuffle it around to loosen it off the sides of the muffin tin. This should be really easy because remember, you've greased these. And then, once it's cool, only do this once it's cool. You pop it underneath and lift it up, and then put it on a cooling tray, rack, track, same thing, but not really. Put them upside down, because by the time they've cooled in the tray, the tops will be nice and crusty. And you want to put them upside down to make sure that the bottom doesn't end up really soggy. Of course, if you're really, really impatient, like I usually am, you can always try prying one out a little earlier and seeing how it is. Ooh. Ooh. And ta-da! Muffin! Ooh, it's a little bit warm. And as you can see, not a whole lot got stuck in the bottom. No half muffins in there. And I get a nice little muffin here. A little bit of a dent mark from being pried out. But that's to be expected, really. Especially when it doesn't matter, since what I'm going to do is crack it open. See that? Delightful, moist, actually quite hot with the steam, ow. And generally, utterly delicious. Really good. So, once you've pried them all out, put them in a container, put them in a tea towel, just give them to people, and have them with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of Milo. If any of you have yet figured out how to make the Milo I've sent you successfully, and enjoy.